Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be checking out the complete travels of the Ringwraiths, the Nazgul, Tolkien explained by Nerd of the Rings. This was recommended to me by our Prefect Fear, so big thank you to you, Fear. Appreciate that recommendation as always. The Ringwraiths, I'm pretty sure now this is just some like historic back of the mind knowledge that I kind of recall from the movies. Are they the original human ring bearers? Is that correct? Now, I don't want to get too far ahead into assumptions because we're obviously going to get it explained for us here. But I'm pretty sure that they are. They're obviously the fellows that chased down the hobbits at the start of the film. I do recall that. And they're pretty fucking scary guys. They are ethereal in nature. Then there is quite a few of them too, and they seem pretty goddamn powerful. I don't know the full scale of it, the complete extent of it. I'm sure we're gonna go and see what that's all about. Reading the description here, it does also say their actions before and during the War of the Rings, so that's going to be interesting too. I don't know what they got up to beforehand, so who knows, I'm interested to see what that's all about. If you guys enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe for more content from me, and of course leave your recommendations down in the comments below. Big thank you to all of our members, all of our Hastati, and our Principes, Dagenhart and Hobbit, and our Prefect Fear, of course. Appreciate you guys. You guys inspire me to make more content for you guys every single day. This video was supposed to come out on Friday. I apologize for that. I had some business I had to attend to on Friday there, so I got a little bit busy, and then when I got back home, it was just kind of like fucking 40 degrees out, and I was sweaty, and I fucking had a shower, and I passed the fuck out. And now I'm up, and it's 1 in the morning on Saturday, so this is the time it's coming out. I apologize about that. Still going up. Anyway, without any further delay, we're gonna get right into this video. Captions are already on, I believe. Yep, captions are on. Quality 1440p, we'll take it when we can get it. We're obviously gonna leave a like on this video before we start. Full screen, and without any further delay, let's get it.
The Nine, the greatest of Sauron's servants, the Nazgul, which is black speech for Ringwraiths, live not in the world of mortals, but in the world of the unseen. Welcome to Nerd of the Rings.
That kind of goes hard, what the fuck?
The complete travels of the Ringwraiths, from their time as mortal men to their ultimate demise with their master.
Right.
Sometime during the Second Age, Sauron gives 9 rings of power to powerful mortal men.
Okay.
As far as the date, we only know for certain that this takes place sometime after 1697.
Right.
That was the year in which Sauron lays waste to the elvish realm of Eregion. He kills Celebrimbor, who with Sauron's help had created the Rings of Power. The 9 rings, which had been locked in a safe in Eregion, are seized by Sauron, who in turn gives them to these mortal men doomed to die. While we don't know about all...
Okay, so that's interesting. So yeah, they are mortal men, and I think they are the original human ring bearers, right? 9 men, 2, 4, 6, yeah, so... Very interesting. I guess we'll have to see where that goes. Yeah, doomed to die too. So I wonder if they did they know that they were kind of like a sacrifice at this point? I guess we'll find out. Or was it more the case of like, oh, we're being granted this great power by our great lord. Little do you know that your soul is mine when you accept it. Like, seems kind of more the case, but let's find out.
In turn gives them to these mortal men doomed to die. While we don't know about all of the 9, we know that 3 were lords of Numenor corrupted by Sauron.
Oh,
it is
okay.
likely that these lords were of the King's Men faction of Numenor, who
right.
would fall under Sauron's sway and later be known as the Black Numenorians.
Right,
the
okay.
Mouth of Sauron is another of these Black Numenorians. One of the Nazgul we know by name, Khamûl the Easterling.
Khamûl.
All of the 9 become great among men, wealthy and powerful rulers, sorcerers, and warriors. However, the rings would begin to take their toll. In their prolonged lives, the men begin to see things of the unseen.
Oh,
the
really?
Spirit world. The 9 begin to hate life as they are slowly drawn under Sauron's dominion. Over time, their bodily forms fade entirely until they are fully wraiths, slaves under the domination of the One Ring. The 9...
So it basically gave them, like, the rings essentially gave them undeath in a way? And so, like, literally they got so fucking old over time that they just, when they eventually decayed, I guess, a ghost form just kind of remained. They became ethereal in that nature, enslaved to Sauron, because they accepted that power. So I wonder if the rings gave them any other sort of great power, or if they were just great individuals in their own right before they accepted this ring. or if the ring purely just gave them prolonged life, like, or if there was a different use for each ring. I'm not too sure. Yeah, maybe we'll find out here. I'm sure we will. Let's keep going.
Slaves under the domination of the One Ring. The Nine first appear as the Nazgul around 2251 of the Second Age, and are soon established as Sauron's chief servants. The Nazgul,
it's quite a couple hundred years after.
Ringwraiths, the enemy's most terrible servants. Darkness went with them, and they cried with the voices of death. Living in the world of the unseen, the Ringwraiths are given form only by their attire of black cloaks and hauberks of silver mail. Their original form is invisible to mortal eyes. Now let's take a moment to cover the two different realms that all things in Arda fall into, the seen and the unseen. The seen is pretty straightforward. This is the world that our mortal heroes dwell in, and where nearly all of the action of Middle-earth happens. The unseen, however, is a realm that has objects and creatures of the spirit world that belong to magic.
Right.
While the unseen world is neither good nor evil, and contains both dark and bright spiritual beings, the Wraith world is a mysterious reality within the unseen world, and is specifically where the Ringwraiths exist.
So it's almost like its own realm, its own dimension, if you want to call it that, in a sense. So the unseen is like the spiritual world in general, but then there's a subsection of that spiritual world, which is the Wraith world, in a sense. Okay. And then these wraiths reside there, and it would kind of make sense because they're not really. Again, it's weird to think about, but it is like undeath in a way what these rings did to them, right? You know, they didn't die; they just got super fucking old. That their bodies just decayed into nothingness. So now they're kind of like, to me, almost like in a purgatory in between. Maybe is that if that's like the wrong way to interpret it? Someone let me know. But damn, like, yeah, very interesting concept.
Unseen world, and is specifically where the Ringwraiths exist. It is said that the Valar can present themselves in either the seen or unseen. The other beings who existed in both worlds are the wizards and elves who lived in Valinor.
Okay.
Like the Ringwraiths, their form is different between the seen and unseen realms, and they have the ability to see and affect those in both the seen and unseen. While the Nazgul first appear in 2251, we don't know anything about the circumstances of this appearance, or anything about their actions during the Dark Years, Sauron's capture in Numenor, or during the War of the Last Alliance. We do know, however, that when Sauron is overthrown by the Last Alliance in 3441, the Wraiths fade into the shadows. After more than 1,000 years, Sauron returns in the form of a shadow in Greenwood.
This is over thousands of years. This is crazy, the time span.
The Ringwraiths. In about 1100 of the Third Age, the Wise, being the great wizards and Eldar of the age, discover this shadow in Dol Guldur, and believe it to be one of the Nazgul. It was actually around 200 years later that the Lord of the Nazgul founds the Witch Kingdom of Angmar, gathering evil men and the newly multiplied orcs of the Misty Mountains to his service. For the next 675 years, the Witch King makes war on the northern kingdom of Arnor.
Right.
Now, I have an entire video on these conflicts, so check that out for more detail on this specific time period.
Guys, let me know if you want me to check out that video next time. I don't know too much about like these specific kingdoms here. But yeah, no, very interesting, you know, and cool that like these ethereal beings kind of like came to prominence. They're forming their own kingdoms and shit. And you have like mortal men that are just like swayed by Sauron's will, I guess, because these guys are servants of Sauron, right? Kind of crazy that we don't know what happened to him, like what happened to them in general, I guess. While he was on Numenor and whatnot. Like, you kind of would think like they'd be out here wrecking shit. They seem like pretty powerful entities, but who knows? It's all part of the grand design, I'm sure.
An entire video on these conflicts, so check that out for more detail on this
or maybe they were
time period. While Arnor is doing all it can to hold on against the Witch King, Gondor is greatly weakened by both war and the Great Plague.
Right.
This causes their watch on Mordor to cease and Gondor's borders to withdraw closer to its capital. This is believed to have been Sauron's plan in order to open a way into Mordor, which is successful, as the Nazgul freely re-enter Mordor around 1856. Eventually, with the help of the Elves of Eriador and a large force from Gondor, the Witch King is defeated in 1975.
Damn.
5 years later, he arrives in Mordor and gathers the Nazgul, and they begin preparations for Sauron to return to his realm. This is the same year that the Balrog appears in Moria, killing Durin VI and leading the dwarves to abandon Khazad-dûm.
Interesting.
20 years later,
Okay.
the Nazgul take the pass of Cirith Ungol and capture Minas Ithil after a 2-year siege. The city becomes the stronghold of the Nazgul and is renamed Minas Morgul, Tower of Dark Sorcery.
Okay.
As a result, many Gondorians flee from Ithilien. From Minas Morgul, the Nazgul begin rebuilding Sauron's armies. In taking over Minas Ithil, they also acquire its Palantir, which Sauron would later use himself. When Gondor's king Eärnil II dies in 2043...
Quick question about these Palantirs here. What exactly, like, can these things do? I know we kind of had one reference in the last video too. Who was it? Solomon? What exactly can they do? What exactly is the purpose of these things? Is it just used for like farsight in a way, for like visions, premonitions? Somebody let me know.
...would later use himself. When Gondor's king Eärnil II dies in 2043, his son Eärnur becomes king. Eärnur had led Gondor's armies when they came to Arnor's aid decades earlier. During this time, he would suffer an embarrassment when his horse swerved in terror while he attempted to charge at the Witch King. The Witch King, who laughed at Eärnur, would flee as Glorfindel and the elves of Rivendell arrive at that moment.
Damn.
But Eärnur would forever bear a grudge against the Wraith who had mocked him. After Eärnur is crowned king, the
What a
Witch
fucking
King
crazy
challenges
way
him
to
single combat,
form a grudge.
reminding him of his disgrace in the north. The steward of Gondor, Mardil Voronwe, persuades him not to go. However, 7 years later, in 2050, the Witch King renews his challenge, and the king would not be dissuaded. He rides to Minas Morgul with a small escort of knights, and none of them are ever seen again.
Wow.
Before leaving, Eärnur had placed his crown on the lap of his father in the Houses of the Dead. There it would lay for nearly 1,000 years until Faramir, the last ruling steward, would pick it up for the coronation of King Elisar. During
That's
the
fucking
Watchful
crazy.
Peace from 2063 to
That's actually fucking mad work. So he basically just fucking like noped out of like succession because he had no heirs, I'm assuming. So he placed it on like his dead father's tomb and it just fucking sat there. No ruler, unfortunately. Uh-oh. Yikes.
coronation of King
That's fucking
Elisar.
brutal.
During the Watchful Peace from 2063 to 2460, when Sauron hides in the east, the Nazgul also remain hidden in the Morgul Vale. After Sauron is driven out of Dol Guldur by the White Council in 2941, he makes his way to his former stronghold. 9 years later, he declares himself openly in Mordor. At this time, 3 of the Nazgul are sent to Dol Guldur to lead the outpost. Khamul, the second greatest of the Nazgul, is the one who commands Dol Guldur. After Sauron declares himself in 2951, Gollum, who had left his home in the mountains to seek the thief Bilbo Baggins, turns toward Mordor, finally reaching it in 2980. After meeting Shelob, he is captured by Sauron in 3009, and over the next...
Fuck, I really gotta say, looking at it, right, like Gollum seeking the thief Bilbo Baggins, he's not really fucking getting very far, is he, this motherfucker? Like I guess he probably doesn't know where the Shire is. I mean, does he know where the Shire is? Is he even he's not going the right way, like the Shire's up here, right? So I just want to see, like...
951, Gollum, who had left his home in the mountains
comes
to seek
down
the
here,
thief Bilbo Baggins,
going the wrong way.
turns toward Mordor, finally reaching it
Turns
in
towards Mordor.
2980.
Okay, well.
After meeting Shelob, he is captured by Sauron in 3009, and over the next several years he is forced to reveal all he knows of the ring. By 3017, Gollum is set free and the Nine have a new task: to recover the One Ring from Baggins of the Shire. At some point around October of 3017, a mysterious rider comes to Erebor to speak with King Dain, offering Sauron's friendship and to ask about hobbits. In exchange for Sauron's friendship, he asks for this particular ring, calling it the least of rings, a mere trifle that Sauron fancies. While we don't know this for certain, it is indeed possible that this was a Ringwraith. The other common theory is that this was the mouth of Sauron, but we can tackle that debate in another video. Sauron receives word that Gollum has been captured by Aragorn.
So that's like a
and Gandalf,
steward
and is
of
in a state
Sauron, I guess, in a
great
way.
haste and fear. All of his ordinary spies, being thwarted by the Dunedain or by Saruman's treachery, are unable to bring him any tidings regarding the ring. He comes to the conclusion that he can only trust the mightiest of his servants, the Nazgul, to this task.
That makes
However,
sense.
because the terror that goes with them is so great, even when they were unclad and invisible, the Ringwraiths would likely be perceived by the wise and their mission would be guessed. So on June 20th, 3018, Sauron's forces attack Osgiliath. There are two purposes of this attack.
I have to say, like, these things are fucking terrifying, like, straight up. Like, as they say, even when they go, like, invisible, they're not wearing, like, their armor or anything. I guess, like, yeah, wizards and, like, Eldar can still detect them, obviously. But the absolute intimidation, shit your pants, uncomfortable factor that these things give off. Also, their horses, are they, like, demon horses? Like, what are they riding exactly? Like, are they got to be some special type of mount, I'm sure, at this point, right? But somebody let me know, because if I saw one of these riding towards me, like, you can't physically harm it. If you're just some mortal man, you're not one of these, like, high tier players, you know, in Mordor, or not in Mordor, in Middle Earth at this point. I don't think you can fucking do anything to these guys. I don't think you could actually fucking do a thing to them. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, let's see.
Perceived by the wise and their mission would be guessed. So on June 20th, 3018, Sauron's forces attack Osgiliath. There are two purposes of this attack. One is to test the strength and preparedness of Denethor, which is greater than Sauron had hoped. The second, more important purpose was to make the appearance of the Nine Nazgul to seem as if it was just part of his war strategy against Gondor. This way, the wise would not know they were in fact searching for the One Ring. On this same day, he also launches an attack on Thranduil, with orders for the orcs to capture Gollum. At this time, the Witch King and 6 other Nazgul live in Minas Morgul, while Khamul and 1 other live in Dol Guldur. The Black Captain leads his 6 companions over the Anduin, unclad and unmounted, therefore invisible. They pass slowly and in stealth through Anorion, over the Entwade, and into the Wold. Meanwhile, rumors of darkness and dread begin to circulate, though men knew not where these things came from.
Interesting.
The Ringwraiths reach the west shores of Anduin.
It's cool that they have like that, like kind of like mental effect, psychic effect almost on like those around. Like it's almost like a bad omen, you know what I'm saying? In like you know, medieval times, or like, you know, like something like that, I guess. Other works of fiction you see, or it's like, oh my god, like it feels awful around here. The crops are dying, fucking the nights are darker for some reason, you know, nothing's outwardly gone wrong, but man, shit just feels uncomfortable and uneasy for some reason, you know. It's only crows around, there's no bird song, like fuck, like what's happening here? Just weird shit, you know, weird phenomena. Like that would be some creepy shit, man.
Knew not where these things came from.
Some witch shit.
The 7 Ringwraiths reach the west shores of Anduin, a little north of Sarngabir, and there receive horses and clothing that are secretly ferried over the river around July 17th. They travel north, seeking the Shire. 5 days later, they meet the Nazgul of Dol Guldur in the field of Celebrant. From Khamul, they learn of Gollum's escape from both the elves and the orcs, and that no dwellings of halflings were in the Vales of Anduin, the villages of the Stores by Gladden Fields having long been deserted. The Witch King, however, sees no better option, and they head north, hoping to come across Gollum. Avoiding the protection of Galadriel's ring, they pass between Lorien and the mountains. Having failed to find the Shire after nearly 2 months, the Black Riders return to the Wold empty-handed.
I see.
From Mordor.
Very cool that not even they know where like the Shire is. Like obviously Gollum clearly didn't know where it is. Bilbo just mentioned like, oh yeah, I'm from the Shire, but like where is the fucking Shire? Like the world is huge. They don't have it like fully mapped out. Also, like from where Mordor is to the Shire, it's a massive distance. So like, yeah, like it makes sense. They're just kind of looking around like, where are all the halflings from? No halflings around these parts for 3,000 years, my lord. Like, what? The fuck? And where is he? God damn it. 2
months, the Black Riders return to the Wold empty-handed. Messengers from Mordor bring threats from Sauron. He has learned of Boromir leaving Gondor, of Saruman's deeds, and Gandalf's capture. Though he concludes none of the wise have the ring yet, he believes Saruman at least knows where.
I always pronounce his name wrong.
Sauron tells the 9 to go to Isengard.
Wrong guy.
And that speed alone would now serve. Secrecy must be abandoned. On September 18th, they cross the fords of Isen as Gwaihir rescues Gandalf from Orthanc, bearing him to Rohan. 2 days later, the Nazgul come to Isengard. Saruman, who at this point is already a traitor to both the wise and Sauron, knows he must find the ring for himself or come to ruin and torment. The circle of Isengard is too strong for even the Lord of Morgul and his company to assail without a great force. So to his demands he receives only the voice of Saruman, which seems to come from the gate of Isengard itself. "It is not a land that you look for," it said. "I know what you seek, though you do not name it. I have it not, as surely its servants perceive without telling. For if I had it, then you would bow before me and call me Lord. And if I knew where this thing was hid, I should not be here, but long gone before you to take it. There is only one whom I guess to have this knowledge, Mithrandir, enemy of Sauron. And since it is but 2 days since he departed from Isengard, seek him nearby." As chance would have it, the following day the Black Riders meet Grima Wormtongue, who is on his way to deliver a message to Saruman. Wormtongue tells the riders the location of—
I gotta say, I really like that speech between them there, that little like excerpt there. That was actually really clever. I really like the dialogue in Lord of the Rings. You know what I'm saying? Like the back and forth, the writing of it. Tolkien was such a great writer, man. Like it's classical writing. Like you need to think about it a little bit still, like by modern, I guess subject matter, right? Or modern subject matter, by modern writing terms, modern like language in general, English language. You know, most people, like most kids especially, I feel like, you know, they read this and they're like, oh my god, like, you know, they fucking can't understand it. I just feel like most kids nowadays are brain dead. I'm not trying to be that type of way, but I know when I was growing up, like I'm not that fucking old, you know what I'm saying? Even when I was in high school and shit like that, like you saw people fucking very much struggle or just not have any sort of interest, because it's just like, I don't know, it's that brain rot kind of like social media like culture, I think, that fucking affects everything. But I really enjoy like classical writing, even Shakespeare, man. I got a big love for Shakespeare too. A lot of people don't like his works. I think a lot of them are great. You know, I enjoyed quite a few, even like Romeo and Juliet and shit like that, man. Call that what you will, you know, but I actually thought the writing was kind of clever in it, you know. It's just me.
Who is on his way to deliver a message to Saruman. Wormtongue tells the riders the location of the Shire.
Was it 12th night? 12th night's good too.
Have the information they've sought. The Witch King spares Grima's life, foreseeing that Wormtongue would bring ruin to Saruman. He divides his wraiths into 4 pairs and goes with the swiftest to Miniriath. On their way, they capture 2 spies of Saruman, finding charts and maps of the Shire in the possession of one who had been used to traffic between Isengard and the South Farthing. They send the spy to Bree, telling him that he no longer belongs to Saruman. Now he belongs to Mordor. They turn north, arriving at Sarn Ford on September 22nd, where they drive away the guard of rangers stationed there. In the early hours of the next day, as Gandalf speeds north through Rohan, 4 of the riders, led by Khamul, enter the Shire. The remaining 5, led by the Witch King, pursue the rangers eastward.
I see.
To watch the Greenway. Khamul comes to Hobbiton at night.
So this is kind of like at the start of the movie here. Well, not the start of the movie, but this is kind of when stuff starts to take off, when they start to leave Hobbiton and go to Bree for the first time. That's the time frame this is. 3018. Yeah, 3018. I gotta write these dates down so I keep them memorized, you know. I'm pretty sure I recall. Yeah, okay.
Eastward, then return to watch the Greenway. Khamul comes to Hobbiton at nightfall. There, he questions.
There's a lot of dates to keep in mind with Lord of the Rings.
Luckily, Frodo had already left Bag End that very morning. 2 days later, the hobbits are followed by a rider on a road near Woody End.
Right.
Gildor and his company of elves, returning from Emin Bered, encounter the hobbits and the rider flees. On September 25th, a black rider comes to Farmer Maggot's farm, who tells the rider to go away. That night, the hobbits themselves arrive at Farmer Maggot's, who takes them to Buckleberry Ferry. On the 26th...
Wait, so... this guy just tells him to go away? Excuse me?
Farmer Maggot's farm, who tells the rider to go away.
Can you just tell a Nazgul to go away? Does it work like that? Can you do that? Like, that guy seems pretty, like, big dick, I'm not gonna lie. What the fuck? Yeah, you shall not be here, peasant. Fucking banished ye. Fucking, like, what? Okay.
A black who
That's
tells
amazing.
the rider to go away. That night, the hobbits themselves
Goddamn.
Farmer Maggots, who takes them to Buckleberry Ferry. On the 26th, as the hobbits first encounter Tom Bombadil in the Old Forest, 2 riders come to the Prancing Pony in Bree and talk with NOOB, who closes the door on them. The riders then leave Bree. On September 28th, the hobbits are captured by a Barrow-wight, one of the spirits sent there by the Witch King centuries earlier. They are once again rescued by Tom Bombadil. The hobbits reach Bree the following night. Bill Ferny and the Southerner tip off the Black Riders about the hobbits, saying that one of them mysteriously disappeared. Mary, who is out for a walk, spots this encounter. He attempts to follow the rider, but it disappears. Mary is overtaken by the Black Breath and faints. Luckily,
the Black Breath
comes to his aid and returns him to the Prancing Pony, where he warns Strider and the other hobbits about the riders. Now, the Black Breath is another of the weapons of the Nazgul.
Yeah.
It is said to be poisonous and could overpower those affected by it, and we'll talk more about that shortly. In the wee hours of September 30th, the Nazgul raid Crick Hollow, while others attack the Prancing Pony. This is an interesting point, as in both the Bakshi and Jackson adaptations, it is the Ringwraiths themselves who attack the inn. While it isn't explicitly said who's responsible for the attack, there are some clues that point toward it not being the Wraiths. For one, Aragorn himself says he doesn't think they will attack the inn, as it isn't their way. In dark and loneliness they are strongest. They will not openly attack a house where there are lights and many people. Not until they are desperate. Not while all the long leagues of Eriador still lie before us. But their power is in terror. And already some in Bree are in their clutch. They will drive these wretches to some evil. That
makes a lot of sense. Okay, so you can just kind of almost I'm not to cut him off mid-speech there, but you can just kind of like tell them to go away. Right? Like if you're strong of heart, if you're confident, you know, if you're pure in a sense, you know, and your house, let's say they come to your abode, it's warm, it's inviting, it's clean, you know what I'm saying? You're not like, you know, you're not of mental weakness, let's say, then they can't really hurt you. You're not scared of them, you know what I mean? They need something to feed off of, it seems like. Something to get, and only when they're desperate, as I guess Strider here says, will they actually fucking like openly attack you, right? Because then it kind of like, you know, it shows that they're desperate, I think. And I think people know that. Damn, okay.
Three are in their clutch. They will drive these wretches.
They're about manipulation in a sense.
Funny, and some of the strangers, and maybe the gatekeeper too. The morning after.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's they will drive these wretches to some of evil work. Yeah, like so it's about manipulating others to do the evil for you. And I think maybe it's like it's culpability one, but it's also like how you say, like influence, you know what I'm saying? Like if these people are willing to be corrupted by you, you've done your job, right? They're really like recruiters at the end of the day, almost, is what these guys are. Like more than anything else, infiltrators / like recruiters, you know? They're not like assassins or really anything like that. Like they kind of are, kind of aren't. They're multi-role, I guess, but it's very interesting, you know? Very interesting.
Funny, and some of the strangers, and maybe the gatekeeper too. The morning after the attack, Aragorn leads the hobbits away. Gandalf comes to Bree that night and leaves the next day. Camul brings word from the spy in Bree of Frodo's vanishing act. The Witch King guesses that Frodo will head east and sends 4 wraiths to Weathertop, the former tower of Amansul, which he had destroyed centuries earlier. He goes south along the Greenway and finds nothing. Gandalf discovers the riders and follows them, but the Witch King lets Gandalf slip ahead, and on October 3rd, the 9 attack him on Weathertop. Frodo and Aragorn, who are in the Midgewater marshes, see the flashes of light from the battle. Gandalf escapes Weathertop and is pursued by 4 of the riders. 2 days later, Aragorn and the hobbits come to Amansul themselves, where they are attacked by the remaining 5 Ringwraiths. There, Frodo is stabbed by the Witch King. The Witch King's Morgul knife has the ability to bring someone permanently into the unseen realm, specifically the Wraith world.
That's kind of crazy.
His transformation after being stabbed. While Aragorn arrives and attacks using fire, the Witch King and the other.
It's like a pocket dimension blade, dude. That's crazy.
To be completed. Meanwhile, Camul and his 3 riders are camped at the last bridge, but are driven off on October 11th by Glorfindel. 2 days later, Aragorn and the hobbits cross the same bridge, and on October 18th, Glorfindel finds the company. As Frodo suffers from the effects of the blade, he is able to see Glorfindel's true form, which emits the light of Valinor. Along with Glorfindel's part, this quality was given to Arwen in the film adaptation, though she would not have had the
Yeah, that would be fucking
having
crazy.
always lived in Middle-earth. Gandalf speaks of this later when they're all in
Fucking, I love that fucking like scene, like right here. I'm just like
film adaptation.
Elijah Wood just like looking like he's tripping balls, bro. That's fucking great to me. But honestly, yeah, Frodo in this situation, if you're going like ethereal, like you're midway through ethereal and you got like Eldar and shit around you, bro, that would be such a massive mind fuck. I couldn't imagine, you know? You'd be like, what the fuck? Like that would be like LSD on like times 1,000, dude. Like what the fuck?
Though she would not have had
Not that I
the
know,
light
of course,
Valinor,
but
having always lived in Middle-earth. Gandalf speaks of this later when they're all in Rivendell. And here in Rivendell, there live still some of his chief foes. The Elven Wise, lords of the Eldar from beyond the furthest seas. They do not fear the Ringwraiths, for those who have dwelt in the Blessed Realm live at once in both worlds, and against both the seen and the unseen they have great power. I thought that I saw a white figure that shone and did not grow dim like the others. Was that Glorfindel then? Yes, you saw him for a moment as he is upon the other side, one of the mighty of the Firstborn. He is an elf lord of a house of princes. Indeed, there is a power in Rivendell to withstand the might of Mordor, for a while, and elsewhere other powers still dwell. Now back to the Ringwraith's pursuit. The Witch King has now discovered that Kamul has been driven from the last bridge by his old nemesis Glorfindel.
right.
At this point, the Witch King only has one other rider with him, so is unable to openly confront the elf. They regroup and travel south, rejoining 4 others. They manage to pick up the trail of the company, and despite being hindered by Glorfindel and Aragorn, the 9 pursue Frodo to the ford of Bruinen. There, by the power of Elrond, the waters of
yeah.
sweeping the 9 downstream.
I recall this.
With the ringbearer safe in Rivendell and 8 of the horses dead, the Nazgul have no choice but to abandon their pursuit. The Witch King takes the...
So are their horses actually just mortal horses then? That makes me think they are. Like their horses just fucking drown, dude. Damn. Fucking sucks. When your mode of transportation's still just a mortal mode, you know what I mean? Damn. That would make sense though. That's fair. They're not like something special. They are just fucking, that is just a horse. Like at the end of the day.
The Nazgul have no choice but to abandon their pursuit. The Witch King takes the only surviving horse back to Mordor, arriving in December of 3018. He sends aid to the other 8, who return to Mordor in secret. There, in Minas Morgul, they prepare for a grand invasion of Gondor. While the Witch King, who is given added demonic force by Sauron, prepares for war, we know some of the other Nazgul begin traveling on fell beasts.
Oh
on the
shit.
night of February 23rd, Legolas shoots
Those
a
kind of
fell
like,
beast.
oh, okay, yeah. They look kind of like drakes. I just want to go back to that picture. They look, yeah, almost kind of like, what would you specifically call that? Would you call that like that's like a, it's not a dragon, that's for sure. They call it like a fell beast. Would that be like a wyvern, I guess, in a sense? Because it doesn't have like the leg, it has like the wing, right? I don't know. What would you guys call that?
On fell beasts. On the night of February 23rd, Legolas shoots a fell beast with his new bow of the Galathrim. Though we don't know for certain, it is implied that this shot killed the beast. We also know that as Frodo, Sam, and Gollum make the passage of the Dead Marshes on March 1st through the 4th, a Nazgul flies overhead, striking fear into all 3.
Yeah.
On March 5th, as they near the gates of Mordor, a Nazgul flies overhead yet again. That very night, Gandalf and the victorious party of King Theoden are camped at Dol Baran after their parley with Saruman. Suddenly, a shadow falls over the company. The bright moonlight is cut off, and several of the riders cried out and crouched, holding their arms above their heads.
Fuck.
Gandalf cries out, "Nazgul, the messenger of Mordor! The storm is coming. The Nazgul have crossed the river. Ride, ride, wait not for the dawn!" Though Pippin had early...
Interesting way to put it too. Like he just called them the messengers of Mordor. And it's cool too. Like, you know, I talked about them not being like assassins in a sense, but a messenger of Mordor. If you're gonna be riding around on something like fucking this, what greater message than we're here to fucking drop our nuts on you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. Like, that's the plain and simple. You want to fuck around? Like, we're about to, you know? That's what's about to happen here. I would not want to fucking even like look at something like this. Like, that would be so fucking uncomfortable. I don't know if it has like some sort of breath attack. I'm assuming it likely does, given the fact that it's like, you know, a Tolkien fantasy. I could be wrong though, of course. But man, these things look fucking scary. They look like undead, like drakes in a sense.
The river, ride, wait not for the dawn.
They look big too, like not huge, but big enough.
Says this rider was likely sent after the Fellowship had been assailed at Amon Hen nearly 9 days earlier, though he believes another may be sent after Pippin's actions. Finally, on March 10, 3019, the signal is given and the full might of Minas Morgul is unleashed. The Witch King, with his new power, rides at the head of the army upon a black horse, just as he had during his time in Angmar. As he passes out of the gates of the dead city, he senses the presence of Frodo, and though he is disturbed, he continues through Ithilien. That same day, as Faramir returns to Minas Tirith to report to Denethor, he is nearly caught by fell beasts, but Gandalf saves him. With the Witch King in command, Osgiliath quickly falls 2 days later.
Maybe they're not like, I don't know. Maybe they're not like drag on them, because I'm looking at these pictures now. If these are like proper fell beasts, these look a little different. These almost look like pterodactyls almost in a sense, like you know, like dinosaurs almost. Fucking, but it's hard to say, you know. So what exactly like is a fell beast? Like somebody let me know. I'm not trying to like misname them, represent them. You know what I'm saying? What exactly would you like compare these two, I guess, in a way, you know? I'm just curious, because again, like here I'm kind of getting like pterodactyl vibes versus like the other pictures before, like just kind of looking at them, like I definitely got like I look at that and I think like, shit, that looks kind of like a drake almost in a way, you know? So somebody let me know.
Saves him. With the Witch King in command, Osgiliath quickly falls 2 days later on March 12th. The Witch King sends out other Nazgul on fell beasts, and Faramir is wounded by a dart and the Black Breath. But his company is saved, and he is returned to Minas Tirith. The Ramas Ekor, a great wall, over 35 miles in length surrounding the Pelennor Fields, is breached, and the Pelennor Fields are overrun.
Right.
On March 14th, Minas Tirith is besieged by the forces of Mordor. They send fire and the heads of dead Gondorians into the city by catapults.
Yeah.
And launch their assault. At midnight, Grond rolls to the gate of the city. The Witch King cries out evil spells onto it as it breaks the gates of Minas Tirith in just 3 swings.
That's
the Lord
fucked.
of the Nazgul rides on his black steed into the city unchallenged, save by Gandalf. Before the pair could battle, however, a cock crows.
So this is Gandalf the White right now.
In the distance. Sauron's multiple attempts to keep Rohan out of this planned battle had failed, and the Witch King is forced to ride out and attack them instead of fighting Gandalf and destroying the city. Theoden's charge drives the forces of Mordor from the northern half of the field, and he personally kills the Southron chieftain.
Damn.
Mordor's forces would counterattack, however, and the Witch King, having ridden out to fight against Rohan's charge, sets upon them and racks them with fear. His fell beast attacks Theoden, whose horse Snowmane loses control and is hit by a black dart. The horse falls on Theoden, mortally wounding him.
Damn.
As the fell beast prepares to devour the king, Durnhelm stands defiantly between them. The Witch King mocks this Rohan soldier, saying no living man may hinder the Lord of the Nazgul. Eowyn throws off her disguise as Durnhelm and reveals that she is in fact not a man. The Black Captain hesitates slightly, knowing of Glorfindel's prophecy that he would not meet his doom by man, but he heeds it no longer.
Wow, that's an interesting prophecy. Holy fuck, that's kind of like an oh shit moment for him. Like straight up, that probably kind of shook him to the core. Because you're on the battlefield, you're wrecking shit. Oh yeah, you just like slayed the king. Fuck it. Some like random peon peasant soldier fucking like raises his sword to you. Yeah, I'll cut you down. Who the fuck are you? No man can kill me. I already know this. I'm actually a woman, bitch. You know what I'm saying? So it's like not only like a culture shock for him, but also it's like, holy shit, it's prophesized like he might actually meet his end here. Like, so for him, it's like mental games might already be played.
See that he would not meet his doom by man, but he heeds it no longer and attacks. Éowyn slays his fell beast, but the Witch King rebounds, giving a violent cry that stings her ears like venom. He throws his black mace against her shield, splintering it and shattering her arm. As he raises his mace to kill his foe, Merry stabs him with his barrow blade, a sword forged during the wars between Angmar and Arnor, and containing spells against the Witch King. This both distracts and likely seriously injures the Witch King. Éowyn, with her last strength, drives her sword into his crown.
Damn.
The sword shatters and the Black Captain is slain. His spirit fades into a shrill voice on the wind.
So she actually does this here.
The battle would eventually turn in favor of Gondor and Rohan, with the forces of good being victorious in the Battle of Pelennor Fields. After the battle, Aragorn comes to the Houses of the Healing, where he sees Éowyn, Merry, and Faramir all suffering from the Black Breath. As he uses Athelas to cure all three, word begins to rapidly spread that the king has returned. Also on March 15th, Frodo and Sam see a shape moving at great speed out of the west. This is one of the winged Nazgul, but rather than his voice holding terror, it is instead a cry of woe and dismay. The Nazgul is returning to Barad-dûr to tell Sauron the Witch King has met his doom. Aragorn leads the host of the West from Minas Tirith on March 8th.
Straight up a messenger at that point, man. Like that's bad. He's not even like conducting patrols. He's not even like, you know, here to, you know, and instill terror anymore. It's literally like, we need to fucking go tell Sauron what the fuck just happened. We just got our asses fucking washed, dude. It's bad. It's really, really bad. Like
at his doom. Aragorn leads the host of the West from Minas Tirith on March 18th. Beginning on the evening of March 22nd, the Nazgul fly overhead, out of the sight of all but Legolas, watching the army's every move. Meanwhile, Frodo and Sam leave the road and turn south to Mount Doom. 3 days later, during the Battle of the Black Gate, the 8 remaining Ringwraiths attack the army of the West. The Nazgul themselves are attacked by the great eagles of the north, including Gwaihir the Windlord and his brother Landroval. They bear down upon the Nazgul, who turn and flee, not because of the eagles, but because Frodo Baggins has just claimed the ring as his own at Orodruin.
Damn.
Sauron, perceiving Frodo wearing the One Ring, summons the Ringwraiths immediately to Mount Doom.
Stop him!
They arrive too late as the ring falls into the fire along with Gollum. As the mountain erupts, the Nazgul are caught in the firestorm. Khamûl and the other 7 Nazgul are destroyed, never again to plague the peoples of Middle-earth. While Merry, Éowyn, and Faramir would
they all actually died
from their experiences with the Black Breath, Frodo would not be so lucky. His wound troubles him for the remainder of his days in Middle-earth. Every October 6th, the anniversary of being stabbed by the Witch King, he falls ill until he sails into the west on September 29, 3021. As for Minas Morgul, it would remain abandoned for quite some time. While Faramir is made Prince of Ithilien by King Elisar, he dwells in Emin Arnen at the recommendation of the king. The land of Minas Morgul was such a terror on the minds of men that Aragorn deems it unfit for human contact for many years.
Really?
Eventually, however, the city is rebuilt as Minas Ithil, and the last trace of the Nazgul in Gondor is gone at last.
Actually looks very pretty now.
I want to say a huge
not terror, but like
Patreon supporters
actually looks
who make
beautiful.
this channel
Wow.
possible, including wizard level patrons Tony Bombadil 19, Sky Carcass, Judy IHOPS, and Jim Limber Davis. To find out how you can score some exclusive perks and help the channel, visit patreon.com/nerdoftherings. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.
Wow, guys. That was an awesome video. Again, Nerd of the Rings. Fucking killing it with the complete travel series. Really, really liking these videos. Getting shown around the world in like an interactive way. Again, I really, really like the style of videos that Nerd of the Rings is putting out here. And I'm shocked. Like, this is 4 years ago. I'm shocked I've never heard of this channel. Maybe it's just because I've never actually like looked into Lord of the Rings kind of content before, like lore content before. But man, I've been really missing out because he makes some good content, man. Like, I don't know, Nerd of the Rings. If you're watching this, man, you fucking kill this shit. Keep it up, man. Because like I'm learning a lot. Like, it's actually such a large amount of knowledge to be gained from these videos, as well as like just the interactiveness of it, like just how you're shown around. You're like, and he really doesn't skip a beat here either. It's engaging the entire time, you know, with the dates being shown, with like the illustrations being shown, with like all the portraits of certain characters, so you kind of can keep track of it a little easier. I'm really liking these style of videos, man. Wow, good job, Nerd of the Rings. If you guys enjoy, make sure you leave a like, subscribe for more content from me, and of course leave your recommendations down in the comments below. Big thank you to all of our members, all of our Hastati, our Principes, Dagenhart, and Hobbit, and of course our Prefect Fear. Appreciate you guys. You guys inspire me to make more content for you guys every single day. And with that, guys, say we end the video here. Without any further delay, this has been Centurion. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.